If you are a dummy, like me, the word economics sounds a bit too much like I'm sitting at my desk without having sex-esque. But if you want to capitalize on the posh cocktails and occasional sugar mommy characteristic of finance bro parties without sounding like you just came out of rehab, you're in the right place. Today, you'll understand the economics of the world using the standard unit for economic measurement, the cow. So, let's get started. Or, let's get a move on. Socialism. You have two cows. The state takes both, assuring you that it knows best how to manage them. They're placed in a communal farm where everyone debates how to best allocate the milk. Unfortunately, in all the discussions about equal milk distribution and fair cow treatment, no one remembers to actually milk the cows. You're eventually given some milk, but it's unclear if it's from your cows, someone else's cows, or if it's even milk at all. Anarchism. You have two cows. Since there's no government, you're responsible for them entirely. Yay! However, your neighbor thinks ownership is a human construct, so he liberates your cows. Oh. Now everyone claims a piece of the cows and argues about the milk. Eventually, the cows, confused and unmanaged, wander off to form their own cow society where grass is currency and milking is voluntary. Liberalism. You have two cows. You sell one, buy a bull, and soon enough you're running a dairy empire.
Excuse me. What if I don't have a cow?
Then someone with many cows can let you milk their cows.
Oh, and I keep the milk and give them a percentage. Fair enough.
No, you milk the cows and your boss gives you money so you don't die. And just like that, you have created the working class. They spend their days milking your cows so they can go home and buy back some of your milk at prices 10 times higher than what it costs you. You toast to the free market with a glass of premium milk while your workers dream of the day they can afford a simple carrot farm. Nazism. You have two cows. The state convinces you one cow is a glorious, purebred hero and the other is a villain, sabotaging your milk production. Society becomes obsessed with these labels. You start organizing rallies in honor of the heroic cow and shun the other, who just chews grass. People start seeing their entire lives through the lens of cow purity, spending more time policing cow ideologies than actually milking them. The absurdity peaks when neighbors start accusing each other's cows of espionage. Milk becomes an afterthought in this bovine melodrama as society spirals into madness over entirely imagined cow conspiracies. American company. You have two cows. You buy a bull on credit, then take out a loan against the future calves, which you've already named, branded, and sold shares in. You hire a consultant to manage your expanding dairy derivatives market. Your cows haven't even met the bull yet, but you've already franchised a line of artisanal cheese. Then you securitize the expected milk yield, creating complex dairy financial instruments that no one really understands, but everyone wants to invest in. The value of your cows is now tied to global milk futures, cheese index funds, and the volatility of the hay market. Suddenly, the milk market fluctuates and your leveraged cow assets are in jeopardy. You lobby for a cow bailout, warning that without it, the entire dairy economy could collapse. The government reluctantly agrees, citing the too-big-to-fail doctrine. You use the funds to buy more cows, promising this time things will be different. Meanwhile, the original two cows are still waiting for the bull. Chinese company. You have two cows. The government owns a stake in one and has an eye on the other. You set up a 24/7 milking operation, squeezing every last drop out of them while promising the cows rest and better feed when targets are met. The milk is turned into an array of products, from generic brand milk to innovative dairy-based paint. Your employees work tirelessly, with minimal breaks and maximum efficiency, churning out these products at a rate that astonishes the world. Quality control is a distant thought. It's all about quantity. The market is flooded with your low-cost milk and milk accessories, some of which are useful, others, not so much. But it doesn't matter. They sell. Meanwhile, the government keeps a close eye, ensuring their share of the profits while occasionally reminding you about the importance of harmony and social stability. Your cows are just statistics in the grand scheme, cogs in the ever-turning wheel of mass production. Their well-being secondary to meeting the next production quota. Japanese company. You have two cows. When a customer complains that the milk isn't creamy enough, you bow deeply in apology and immediately set out to breed the cows with a rare Swiss breed known for creamy milk at great expense. Your cows are now producing milk so creamy it's practically butter, but a customer remarks it's not frothy enough for their cappuccino. You issue a formal, heartfelt apology across all media platforms and invest in a state-of-the-art frothing system, training your cows to operate it themselves. The cows are now overqualified dairy technicians. When one cow accidentally steps on a beetle, causing a 3-minute delivery delay, you send out a general apology video on national television with a small carton of premium milk to all customers, along with a promise of a beetle memorial park funded by your company. You're losing money rapidly, but the customer satisfaction ratings are through the roof. The board of directors is confused. The accountants are in despair, but the customers are delighted. And in the end, isn't that what it's all about? The cows, meanwhile, are considering careers in public relations. Oligarchy. You have 2 cows. They're nice, but the real game is in the hands of a few cow barons who own the majority of the cows in the country. They got their start in the wild early days of cow privatization and now sit atop sprawling dairy empires. You try to expand your modest herd, but quickly realize that the pasture land is controlled by these oligarchs. They'll let you graze there, but only if you provide them with a steady supply of your finest milk at a friendly discount, of course. These cow oligarchs don't just trade in milk, they trade in favors, influence, and power. They have the top cow scientists, the most fertile grazing lands, and the politicians in their back pockets. Occasionally, they'll fight amongst themselves, leading to mysterious milk shortages or sudden changes in cow regulations and, of course, the sudden disappearance. Monarchy. You have 2 cows, but technically they're the king's cows. In this grand kingdom, everything ultimately belongs to the monarch, including your seemingly quaint dairy operation. The king, living in a palace made of rare marbles and gold, often forgets that not everyone feasts on gourmet cheese and cream daily. You're part of a feudal system where you give most of your milk to the king as a form of tax. In return, you're promised protection from marauding invaders who, you suspect, might just want a fair share of the milk too. The king hosts extravagant feasts where fountains flow with milk and honey, while many in the kingdom can barely dream of tasting cheese. The countryside is picturesque, but underneath lies a populace struggling to make ends meet, some even starving. They whisper about the days when cows will be shared by all, which could cost them their heads, so for now they bow to the king's cows. European social democracy. You have 2 cows. Before you can milk them, you must attend a mandatory seminar on bovine gender dynamics and ensure you're addressing the cows with the correct pronouns. A portion of your milk must be set aside for various initiatives like the Cows for Climate Change program and the Bovine Cultural Sensitivity Training for farmers. Half of your milk yield is taxed to fund these initiatives, along with a new government department dedicated to overseeing fair grass distribution among cows. There's a heated debate in the legislature about whether cows should be granted paid maternity leave and representation in agricultural policy decisions. You want to expand your farm, but you're bogged down in paperwork from the Ministry of Cow Affairs, which needs to assess the environmental impact of each additional cow. Meanwhile, your original 2 cows, blissfully unaware of the bureaucratic maze they're at the center of, are wondering where all their milk is going. African company. You have 2 cows, but they're overshadowed by the massive Western dairy conglomerate that set up a giant farm nearby. This mega corporation siphons off most of the profits, leaving you with the scraps. They employ local children, paying them pennies to do the hard labor, their young hands more adept at milking cows than holding pencils and books. Meanwhile, in the Western world, consumers sip on their corporation-branded lattes, unaware or unconcerned about the exploitation that funded their caffeine fix. The corporation's marketing is slick and powerful, painting a picture of happy cows and happier farmers that's far from the reality on the ground. In the shadows of this corporate giant, local militias capitalize on the instability. They demand protection payments from you and your 2 cows, using tactics that make the corporate exploitation seem almost gentle in comparison. Your cows, caught between corporate greed and militia violence, continue to graze in a land rich with resources, yet plagued by exploitation and conflict, their milk a symbol of both the potential and the tragedy of the industry. Banana Republic. You have 2 cows in a country where the rules change more often than the weather. The president, who came to power last week after a coup sponsored by the National Banana Company, declares your oldest cow a national hero. There's a lavish military parade in its honor, which costs more than your entire year's milk revenue. Meanwhile, the Banana Company has somehow claimed the rights to your other cow, arguing it's vital for national banana security. They pay you in banana vouchers, which fluctuate wildly in value. One day you're a millionaire. The next you can barely buy a banana milkshake. The economy is a roller coaster. Inflation is so bad that people use milk as currency. It's more stable than the national bank. Every other week, there's either a revolution, a counter-revolution, or a festival celebrating the revolution that hasn't happened yet.